Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Drundle. I'm the current president of the Illinois Bass Fishing Coaches Association. And today we're going to talk about the all-state process. There's never been an all-state process for fishing in the state of Illinois, so this is brand new, and I know some people have questions about it. So I'm going to talk you through all this. Let me hide myself here, and I'll show you how you would get to this. Before I get into the all-state specifically, I just want to let you know that for the ICAST series, you can click here, and this is where you can access the results from prior tournaments, but it's also where you can register for new events. So like for Lake Springfield, for instance, I would just click right here. I will also put a link to all of these tournaments for registration in the description of this video down below, so you guys can look at that. So we're really here to talk about all states. So we're going to click on results and standings right here. Okay, and you can see there's several things. It's got the ICAST series results from each tournament. It's got the state qualifiers, but we're interested in all states. So I'm going to click right here, and that drags you down to the bottom of the page. And again, you got your choice between state qualifiers and all state anglers. So I'm going to click on all state anglers. And it's going to bring you to a spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet is updated after every single tournament. So if you want to nominate somebody to become all state, right here's where you're going to click. It's going to take you to a form. Well, I'll go ahead and do it and show it to you. Now I've already nominated somebody, so I just have to click this, and here you go. You just put in your information and you nominate your anglers. And I'll talk about the nomination process here in a second. Also, once you nominate somebody, it is up to the coach to update the results. We here at the IBFCA, we do keep track of most tournaments throughout the state, but we don't know every single tournament that's happening. So it's really the coach's responsibility to update those results, and this is where you would do it. Again, you would click on it, and it would take you to a form. Okay, so before we start going through the specifics of who all is in the running for All-State right now, let's go to the rules. And the rules are right here. You can see there's a tab. These blue links take you to another page. And I'm not going to read these word for word for you too, but basically, in a nutshell, the head coach can nominate up to 4 anglers from his team or her team to be all-state. Okay. Now, there's some things to think about as far as nominating. Your anglers that you nominate, they should be outstanding students as well as anglers. Now, we didn't put a number on that. We didn't put a specific grade point average or class rank on purpose because we're going to let the coaches decide on what they constitute as an outstanding angler and student. I always put it this way. When people ask me, well, should I nominate this kid or not? I always think, is this a student that you want to represent your school? If he's being interviewed by a newspaper or something, is he somebody that you feel comfortable representing your school? And that's, if you can say yes, then that person is worthy of being all-state. If you have any doubts, then I would probably resign myself from nominating that individual if I felt uncomfortable with them representing the school. So that's the easiest way to think about it. So in order to qualify to be selected for All-State, you have to fish a minimum of 5 tournaments. Now, these tournaments have to be in the state of Illinois. They have to have 10 boats or more in each event, and they can't be inter-squad events. So, like if Manuka, for instance, is fishing an inter-squad with all Manuka boats fishing against each other, that can't count as one of your tournaments. The other thing is you can't count a tournament where an adult or a non-student is contributing to the bag as far as your final results. Okay, so if you're fishing a tournament and the coach is able to contribute 1 fish and that fish is weighed, then you can't count that tournament. You can count a tournament where adults are fishing as long as their fish are not counting towards the kids or the students' bag. Okay, so you have to fish a minimum of 10 tournaments, or 5 tournaments, sorry. These 5 tournaments can also include the IHSA sectional. They can include the state IHSA state tournament. And the only other thing to think about, it has to be a tournament from July 1st of 2020 through up into and including the ICAST state tournament, which is going to be in June this year of 2021. So it's got to be within that season. Okay. If a student, we're going to count up to 10 tournaments for all state points. Now, your students can certainly fish more than 10 events, but if they do fish more than 10 events, we'll just take the top 10. Okay. So first place in any of these tournaments, you'll receive 7 points for that first place finish. After that, we go by percent of the field. So the top 20% of the field, if you finish within that top 20%, but you didn't get first, you'll get 3 points. If you finish in the top 30% of the field, but don't finish within the top 20, you'll get 1 point. Okay, so that's the point system, and I'll explain that as we go up here and look at who's currently in the lead in each of the regions. So every year, we're going to have a minimum of 15 all-state anglers. Every year, minimum. The scoring system I just explained, but the way it's going to work is you're competing against others in your region of the state. Okay, so we've got the Northeast region, the Northwest region, the East Central region, the West Central, the South. When you go to nominate an angler, that map will come up if you don't know which region you're in, and you can figure out which region you belong to. So the top 2 anglers in each region will be guaranteed all-state, guaranteed. Well, we have 5 regions, so that would be 10 anglers representing the regions. That leaves another 5 anglers that can still earn all-state points. So the remaining 5 spots for all-state are going to be the highest point-getting anglers regardless of region. So that the remaining 5 could all come from the South region, for instance, or we could have a combination of 2 from the South region and maybe 1 or 2 from the West Central and so on. If there are ties, we will give awards as many awards as we need to. We're not going to do tiebreakers. So if we happen to have a year where 3 students are tied for that 15th spot, we will have 18 total all-state anglers. Okay, so that's how the basics of how it works. So I'm going to click on the Northeast region and just show you these regions and the where we are. So you can see we got a couple of anglers from Stevenson that are in first place, and they've got 8 points. Okay, so this is a tournament where they finished 4th place out of 12 boats, which puts them in the top 20%. I'm sorry, in the top 30%, so they got 1 point for that tournament. In this tournament, they finished in first place out of 32 boats, so first place is an automatic 7 points. So you add that 7 with that 1, right there is where you get their 8 points. So as you can see, if this were to end right now, these 2 anglers from Stevenson would represent the Northeast region, and they would be all state. Okay, so everybody's competing within this region against these guys, against these other guys. And I'll just quickly click on these. You can do this at home on your own, but you can see we've got 4 anglers in the West region. South region, we've got several anglers that have been nominated already. There they are. The West Central, we don't have many. I think we only have 2. Let's see. Yeah, we only have 2 anglers so far registered. How many points will it take to win? It's really hard to say. Every year is going to be a little bit different, but I would say you're going to need in that neighborhood of 15 to 20 points probably to become all state would be my guess. All right, so if I click on the overall standings, this is what we saw when we first landed on this page. And so this has each region color-coded and who's leading the regions. And then this also has your next 10 point getters, your next 5s in this blue. So these orange ones are already leading each of the different regions, but these blue ones would be your next 5. So again, if this all-state selection were to stop right now, these would be your remaining 5 all-state anglers. Now we're going to continue to take and accept points through the month of June. Starting in July, though, the all-state is over with, and then we'll start counting for the following year. Which is kind of fun is, students will, as we get into the spring and we start fishing tournaments, they can come to this website, and coaches and parents, and see where they are in the standings. And it's, like I say, it's going to be updated all the time after every single tournament. Coaches, if you run a tournament, especially if it's a smaller tournament, we ask you to email in your total field results, because when coaches nominate or when coaches update, we do want the official results from the tournament directors if possible, so we can verify all these results. So that's the basics of the All-State. These plaques, these awards will be handed out to the students in the early winter time, so basically early July of 2022 at our Illinois Bass Fishing Coaches Association sports show that we'll be hosting. Assuming that COVID is not a big thing anymore, we will be hosting a sports show specifically for youth anglers and youth coaches. And we'll have a lot of people from all over the fishing world there to either do presentations or people that are showing off their merchandise and whatnot. We're going to have coaches doing presentations about what they do with their team to fundraise or to practice and get better. We're going to have some college coaches there, and we're going to have some pros there. So this is going to be a fun event, and at the end of that event, we'll be handing out the All-State Awards to those students. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you at one of our tournaments.